Hey everyone, today's summary is Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, a twisty thriller full of surprises. Spoilers ahead. Want to read the book? Links in the description. Let's get started. Now. Amber Reynolds is in a coma. She can't remember what happened. She can't move, can't open her eyes, but she can hear everything around her. Her husband, Paul, and her sister, Claire, are her visitors. Then, Amber worked as a personal assistant for Madeline Frost. This is revealed later on. Amber initially narrates the events as though she is Madeline's competitor. She got Madeline fired. It was all part of a plan, and Claire was the one who encouraged her to do it. Amber thought Paul was cheating on her. She began overthinking. She found a pair of lacy underwear in his closet. It wasn't her size. When Paul went away and the underwear disappeared, she also went out on her own to ease her mind. She met up with her ex, Edward. She bumped into Edward one day and later sent him an email. They decided to meet up. They had drinks and dinner. Edward suggested hooking up, which surprised Amber. She didn't want to cheat on Paul. During a lunch break at work, after she had gotten Madeline fired, Edward showed up. He admitted that he went there on purpose to see her. Not wanting to deal with her colleagues, she left with Edward and went to a bar. She only ordered lemonade because she suspected she might be pregnant. She hadn't told anyone about that suspicion yet. The next thing she knew, she was lying naked on an unfamiliar bed. Edward had drugged her. She looked around the room. It was messy, but there were photos of her everywhere. Some were old, some recent. Edward had been stalking her. While he was still in the shower, she ran away. When she got home, she realized her keys weren't in her bag, so she had to ring the doorbell. Paul let her in, and they talked. Paul revealed that he had a book deal coming soon and would need to travel. Amber told him she could go with him since she had already quit her job. She also felt guilty for thinking Paul was cheating. The underwear was, after all, a Christmas gift, and Paul had taken it back to the store to exchange it. The accident happened during Christmas. Amber and Paul went to Claire's house for dinner. The evening was normal, but when they went home, Paul revealed that he and Claire had talked. Claire had asked why Paul suddenly gave Amber a diary, and Paul mentioned that he had found Amber's old diaries. He even quoted, "2 peas in a pod." Paul also told Claire that they'd be traveling for his book. To Paul's surprise, Amber freaked out. Amber stormed out of the house, yelled at Paul, and took his car to go back to Claire's house. Amber reassured her that Paul hadn't read the diary and begged Claire not to hurt him. Claire wouldn't believe her. They got into a brief argument, and Amber ended up bleeding. Claire became angry when she realized that Amber was pregnant and hadn't told her. Claire took the keys to Paul's car and drove Amber to the hospital, speeding the whole way. They talked as Claire drove, but then Amber suddenly stopped talking, and in the next moment, Amber was thrown from the car. This led to her coma, and she lost her daughter. While in the coma, Amber realized that Edward was keeping her captive. He was a night porter. She had thought he was a doctor. He had been studying to become one when they broke up. Claire had previously revealed that she wrote some letters asking Edward to stop bothering Amber. Edward mistakenly thought the letters were actually from Amber, and he was still furious at her for ruining his career. When Amber finally woke up and regained control of her body, Edward came to her room and raped her. She pretended to still be in a coma. What Edward did was soon discovered by Paul, who had set up a hidden camera. Though Edward was never caught, Amber assumed that Claire had taken care of him. Amber eventually woke up, and her first words were, "I love you," to Paul. She also spoke to Claire and apologized. In time, Amber was able to forgive, but Amber still had something planned. Months after surviving the coma, she cooked a meal for Claire and her husband. The twins were staying with Amber and Paul at the time. After poisoning Claire and her husband, she set their house on fire. She then went to Madeline's house, wrote an incriminating letter, and placed the empty fuel cans there. As the twins' godmother, Amber was now the one to take care of them. Madeline was facing trial for burning down Claire's house. Amber was feeling like herself again. She was taking care of the twins and had a great relationship with her husband. In fact, they were on vacation when she received something from the past. a bracelet with her date of birth engraved on it. It was also Claire's date of birth. The bracelet was delivered along with the wine they had ordered from room service, so Amber had no idea who it was from. Revelation from the diaries. It was Claire who owned the diary, and Amber isn't actually her sister. They were friends as children. When Claire was about to move, Amber stayed over at their house for the last time so they could bond. However, that was also the night Claire burned their house down to kill her own parents. Claire packed her bags and saved Amber. Claire was eventually adopted by Amber's parents. Although they were friends, Amber was never happy about this. She knew how dangerous Claire was. Amber was still traumatized by what Claire had done, but they eventually got along again, despite the toxicity. Amber had always followed Claire's orders. What Claire did to her own birth parents was detailed in her diary, but Claire wrote, "Taylor Amber made me do it." Madeline Frost is Claire's godmother, who refused to adopt her and also took ownership of what remained of the house Claire had burned down. That's the end of the novel. However, I have a question regarding this book. If you've read this book or are maybe planning to read it, perhaps you can help answer this question. I was confused about this even after finishing the book. If Claire is dead and Edward is assumed to be dead as well, who gave Amber back the bracelet? What's the relevance of the girl in the pink dress? That's it for Sometimes I Lie. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, drop a comment, and grab the book using the link in my bio. Don't forget to subscribe for more summaries. See you next time.